Hi. So, I just wanted to pop on really quick and let you know that my schedule is changing a bit. I think. I don't know. So, for that reason, I'm going to close my books for personal readings for the time being. Obviously, the people who already have readings scheduled, nothing changes for you. We will do those readings on those dates and times, but I'm just not going to take any new bookings, at least for right now. So obviously, I will let you know if that changes. We're talking about May. Shouts out to you, May babies, Taurus and Gemini. I'm a cusper. My birthday is on the 20th. Oh my gosh. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get into the reading. We're going to be using the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. And then we're using this tarot deck. I need to find the name of it. It doesn't come with a book, which is really annoying to me, but I'll figure it out. I'll Google it because I have no clue. I got it a couple years ago. So without further ado, and obviously because of my schedule, the videos are going to come out probably a bit more sporadically. Just an FYI on that too, if you care. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, let's see. I think there's only 2 left. So I knew it was going to be, I knew it was going to be you guys. Who's last? 6-2? Okay. So I'm sorry that these are like quote unquote late, I guess. I mean, that's kind of one of the beauties of, doing your own thing is that you're kind of on your own time, but also, I don't know if it's like OCD or what it is, but like, I just was kind of stressing a little bit, not gonna lie. I know I mentioned in the beginning that, hold on. Okay, I have my dryer on. Anyway, I know I said in the intro or whatever that my schedule changed, and when you just like, I don't know, I went from having an abundance of time to having limited time. And these messages are really important to me. So I want to prioritize making time for them. And what's the point in saying all this? Oh, because I've been trying to make these messages a little bit shorter because your girl can get long-winded sometimes. I've been successful in a couple, less successful in others, but not that I'm like trying to like rush a message by any means, but if I can make them a little bit shorter, then I can do more of them in a day. So blah, blah, blah. If you are here, you are a 2-5 or a hermit heretic. That second line, the hermit line, it's kind of interesting. Like you guys and the 5-2s have this, dynamic where the hermit wants to be alone, kind of doing their own thing, focusing their energy on whatever they want to focus on, what they, like what you have an interest in doing, just kind of being comfortable in your cave. But the 5th line, the heretic line, it's an interpersonal line. So, it kind of sends like a signal out to people, like people are just kind of drawn to the 5th line. And also, like the 5th line interpersonalness of it, like it has like a karma element with other people. It's kind of like you need other people in order to kind of fulfill your karma, quote unquote. There's a ton of different meanings of karma. And we're not talking about bad karma here. Never. But the second line, like I said, it's hermit. No doubt you like your space to be comfy. You might even, be very specific about what comfy is for you, whether that's your whole house, whether that's your room, if you have a separate designated sacred space, or your car, your job, like your office, whatever. No doubt, it's comfortable for you, because when you do go into hermit mode, you want to be able to chill. You want to be able to rejuvenate, and you want some of that rejuvenation to come from your space. And, with the second line, there's also like a natural aptitude that comes with the second line, where, there might just be something that you're good at. Just kind of like a natural type of talent. And maybe you don't see it that way, but other people do. And that's kind of where, the fifth line comes in a way, because they both have, projections. Like the second line has the projection of, people being able to see something in you that maybe you have a hard time seeing within yourself. The fifth line comes with a projection that you can like save the day. And you can, if it's correct for you, and if it's even something that you want to get involved in, which is where the strategy and authority comes into play. So, just getting comfortable with your strategy and authority will help you enter into the quote unquote correct experiences for you, and your profile is how you interact with those experiences. So, of course, like with the fifth line, there is kind of the negative side, where if for some reason, somehow, and it's most times a mystery, if you don't live up to those projections, then you are burned at the stake, is what they call it, which sounds a bit dramatic, but it is kind of. It is kind of dramatic. I'm a 5-1, so I have the fifth line on the conscious side. And when I tell you the amount of friend groups that I have been through, and can't even tell you what even happened, but it's just like something changes. But there is this kind of delicate dance that happens with the fifth line, where, if somebody comes to you and asks you if you can do something or whatever, right? They're kind of coming to you with this projection. You check in with your strategy and authority. Is it even something that I have an interest in doing? Do I feel like I can live up to this projection, right? Again, checking in with the strategy and authority. And if it's a yes, and you enter into, that experience, then it's kind of like you don't have to do the thing from start to finish. There's that delicate dance that I was talking about, is recognizing when your part in a situation is done. Like the energy that you needed to provide to the thing is fulfilled, and then you exit. Which is, that can be hard to do. And again, even tuning into your strategy and authority would help you figure that out. So is there anything else I wanted to say about that, or should we just move forward? I think that's all I have for now. I know cards were just jumping out all over the place. I wasn't like officially ready for a card yet, so that's why I wasn't taking any of them, but now we're officially ready. Not for half of the... We have Heart Guardian, love and let yourself be loved. I love that. That's beautiful. Very root chakra vibes, just because of all of the red. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at this, I don't know, design or whatever up there, and I just keep hearing Mickey Mouse. I'm sure that's not what they intended. But if Disney has, a special place with you, we have the Two of Swords, the Strength card, the Magician. Beautiful. We have the Empress, we have the Two of Cups, and the Chariot. We have the Three of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Seven of Swords under that. Interesting. I'm kind of curious what this Heart Guardian has to say. I mean, I'm sure we could probably all assume, but let's just see. Welcome with open arms, opportunities to give and receive love. The Heart Guardian is an angelic energy that can help you call for protection and guidance with all issues surrounding your heart. This is essentially the angel who helps you with all relationships, whether they be with yourself, family, or even a romantic connection. She can enable you to move beyond any limiting fears about trust, discernment. She can enable you to move beyond any limiting fears about trust, discern whom to trust, and understand how you can move forward in a balanced relationship with that person. In this card, she is adorned with a sacred heart and draped in a red cloak to show her capacity to let love lead the way. You are love, lovable and loving. The energy of love is surrounding your whole world at this time. Yeah. It's interesting because I even kind of feel, I can like feel the connection between, of course, the reading and the card. Sometimes it's like obvious, other times it's not. So anyway, okay. It's also interesting that we have 4 major arcana cards out here. So there's definitely, kind of bigger energies swirling around. Like major arcana cards are like, those are the things that I always kind of see the major arcana cards as being like the energies that are actually happening in our life. Like you could more than likely feel those energies. The minor arcana cards, like the swords, the cups, pentacles, wands, it's like going through the motions of that energy. So, I mean, we start with the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is generally about indecision. It's also a little bit about not wanting to make a decision. There's definitely, and in this card, there's a rope going across these 2 swords that's literally hanging on by a thread. Whether that's because it's been rubbing up against these 2 swords, or just, the tension of being pulled on either side has just weakened, the rope material. Whatever it is, it's literally holding on by a thread, or it's being held together by a single thread. Swords have to do with our thoughts. It's our mind, ideas. It's our perception of our realities. And it's also, for me, it's ego, because that's generally where we hear our ego is in our minds. And our ego is created by the stories that we attach to the experiences that we had, right? Good or bad, true or not. There's a story attached to a memory, and that tends to mold and shape the way that we view our realities, the way that we interact with ourselves, other people, how we even think about ourselves and other people. So we start with the Ace of Swords, right? Which is like a new idea. It's a new focus. It's very logical also. There's also a truth and honesty aspect that goes with the swords, because it is absent of emotion. So it's kind of like pure, fact. And like I said, logic, objectivity. And so again, we start with the Ace of Swords. That's, like a new idea. Then the Two of Swords is like, what do I do? what do I do with this? And sometimes, it's like that new idea, or even like if there was a truth that was discovered, or, whether that truth was unveiled to you or revealed to you, or you discovered a truth about yourself or somebody else or situation. Sometimes, like truth hurts sometimes. And, it can kind of like throw us into a tailspin. Like, what do we even do about that? And of course, sometimes we can even kind of go into like denial and not want to either face it or believe it. In any case, the Two of Swords generally talks about indecision, not quite knowing what to do yet, and not quite even ready to like decide what to do. And it's paired with the Empress card, which is a card of Libra or Taurus. Libra is an air sign. Swords are air. So it's kind of interesting that these two are paired together, like just a double air card. You could be a Libra. You don't have to be. You could be a Taurus. You also don't have to be. Just pointing that out. But the Empress is all about, it's interesting because we have this heart guardian here that has a sacred heart right on their chest. And then we have the Empress, which is an anatomical heart, and there's, trees growing out of it. So definitely very interesting. I mean, you could be, almost kind of trying to like sink into your own Empress vibes. And that's not gender related. It's the energy. And, the energy of the Empress is the divine feminine. It's being in flow. It's intuition. It is literally receiving, which is also what the heart guardian talked about. It's like allowing yourself to receive as much as you give. Because a lot of us are really good at giving to the point of like over giving, but are terrible at receiving. Just shut it down, It's also like the Empress is also about reproduction and fertility. Of course, that can be biological, but it's more about like, again, it's an energetic thing, like reproducing the abundance, creating an environment where opportunity is fertile, right? It's also a 3. So we go from like the 2 to the 3 here, which is, it's a progression. And in this card specifically, there's like this energy about doing something from the heart, but like nurturing and growing something from the heart space. And I love that the heart guardian is out here, and that's what we're talking about with the Empress card. A lot of the same vibes anyway, coming from both cards. And also, like trees give off oxygen, right? Like they go through like the whole process of taking in sunlight and photosynthesizing and whatever happens to create oxygen. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. My point though is the, kind of like transforming one thing to the next, but also how that gives back to you, like giving something but getting something in the return. And then we have the Strength card, which is Leo. The Magician, I think, is Aries. No. Gemini. Chariot is Cancer. I believe the Magician can also be Virgo, if I'm not mistaken. And for whatever reason that was coming through. So I don't know, if Virgo has a significance with you, but the Strength card is about determination and perseverance. It's inner strength. It's not physical strength, but it's holding on to get through something. Like really having to like call in a ton of energy, just to get you through something. It doesn't have to be anything hard, of course, you know, it doesn't have to be necessarily like dramatic, but this is being in that energy of, you know, having to remain strong, having to be strong. Anytime I see a snake like this too, I think Kundalini. Kundalini also like starts in the root center. There's this pelvic bone down here with all of this red on this card. So, you know, there could be some sort of, you know, Kundalini awakening going on within you too, which could be why like this Two of Swords is with this Empress card, because it's almost kind of like figuring out who you even are. You know, like if you are holding on by a thread in your prior, you know, kind of identity or personality, right? But if you just kind of recognize like within yourself that something is different, you know, that could be why these two cards came out together. And again, you know, like with the Strength card, there's this growth thing happening. Allowing yourself to even sit in that energy takes a lot of strength. There's like a courage and bravery aspect that goes along with strength also. And being the card of Leo, it's like allowing yourself to be seen. It's showing up. Showing up in whatever way is, you know, authentic to you. Not to mention too, you know, when we're talking about the twos and the fives, specifically the fives, it's really hard and difficult for other people to truly see a fifth line. So if there's some aspect, and with your fifth line being on the unconscious side, it like I always kind of see the unconscious or like the design side as being that energy that's just like it's around but not at the front of your mind. And you know, if you've had like the thought or the feeling at some point in your life where you're like, I just don't feel like people understand me, or I don't feel like truly seen by people, no matter how open of a book I am, that would be the fifth line. A little bit of the second line too, because again, like it still comes with that projection field, but it's more so like people are projecting like your strengths, what they deem to be your strengths. And like I said, you know, sometimes it's like I don't see that at all, or you know, that's not something I'm interested in at all, so I don't know why you're saying I'm good at it, you know. And then with the Two of Cups, Two of Cups is a relationship card. Of course, depending on, you know, what we're talking about. So this can be relationship. It could be romantic relationship. It does not have to be. But the Two of Cups is about, you know, shared values. We, again, you know, we start with the Ace of Cups, which is having a full cup, feeling fulfilled, you know, to the point where your cup is overflowing. So not only do you have enough for yourself, but you have enough to give somebody else. And then we move on to the Two of Cups, and it's like both people come into this partnership with their full cups. So there's this reciprocity thing, like what you are giving, you are receiving, like we were kind of talking about over here. But it's also like it's possible because both people have full cups. So that it's not 90-10, it's not 70-30, it's like literally 50-50. And it's interesting too that this snake is like going up. These jellyfish are like swimming down. So, you know, maybe there's like some sort of like duality or conflicting something going on here. But, you know, I mean, the Kundalini thing too, it is an ascension, you know, so it could likely change what your ideal relationship would be, or what it looks like, or even how like you want a relationship to operate in your life. And again, this can be romantic, it can be platonic, like friendships, it could be a business partnership, it could be, even the book mentioned family. You could even be trying to decide if you want to extend or expand your family in some capacity. And then we have the Magician. And the Magician is about new beginnings, it's about creation. It literally says that you have everything that you need right now to manifest what you want. Because I think too, like a lot of us get hung up on, I wish I could take a picture of this. Like, okay, so there's two mourning doves that I think have a nest in my backyard. And I'm pretty sure mourning doves mate for life, which is interesting that we were just talking about the Two of Cups. It's been raining all day, and they just landed on my fence. There was one that was sitting on the fence post, and the other one came and landed right on top of it. Like it was standing right on top of it, but almost like an umbrella. That's interesting. And like I said, especially since we're talking about this, because this almost kind of feels like now it's like hold out for, like, do not settle for anything less than, top shelf. Pick the bar off the floor and, literally shoot it into outer space. And don't settle for anything that comes in under that bar. So the Magician card, like I said, it talks about having everything that you need right now in order to manifest what you want. Because, a lot of us kind of get stuck in well, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money or resources. I don't have, enough knowledge. I can't seem to kind of like make a decision, blah, 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 whatever it is. And the magician says, you have literally everything that you need right now. And whatever you do need will show up for you. I always think of Harry Potter, of course, because I'm a Harry Potter nut, with the magician. And if you've seen it, you know how like the Sword of Gryffindor shows up for whoever needs it at exactly the time that they need it. That's the magician card. It wasn't there. It's almost kind of like manifesting, like, man, like if I just had this thing, I don't necessarily even know what the thing is, but if I had it, it would really help me out right now. And then the Sword of Gryffindor appears, you do whatever you need to do, and then it's gone again. Right? So that's the energy of the magician. Just move forward. Start working towards the goal, and whatever you need is going to show up for you. And if this is relationship wise, this would also just be recognizing your own worth, like really understanding like what you bring into partnership. Also recognizing, that like what you want to, again, even like receive in return. Then we have the Chariot. It's paired with the Chariot. And the Chariot is fast moving. It's moving forward. It could be literal moving. Like if you were trying to manifest a move, this would be positive for that. But I love how on this card, because, the Chariot generally talks about divine guidance and allowing yourself to be taken to where you need to go. We're always ever exactly where we need to be at exactly whatever time we need to be there. But the Chariot is like, there's a surrender that goes along with it. It is being divinely guided. And in this card with the salmon, to us, it may seem counterintuitive to swim upstream, right? Like the amount of work that goes into, not to mention the danger of doing so, right? Because, you always kind of see those pictures with the bears that are just standing there waiting for a salmon to jump in their mouth. But they are going off of pure instinct, pure intuition here. So even if something seems, counterintuitive, again, even checking in with your strategy and authority, even if it seems counterintuitive, of course, keep yourself safe. Be safe, but also like give it a shot, see how it goes. Even if it's like, meeting somebody who typically isn't, like your normal type, if you have a type, this would be giving somebody a shot that maybe isn't traditionally your type. And then we have the Three of Cups at the bottom of the deck. And the Three of Cups is about support from others. It's usually a card of celebration. There's 3 pearls in here, which is rare. But like I said, this is generally a card of, support from, it's networking. Maybe you would meet somebody through networking, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just like for work, but maybe, friends of friends or something along those lines. Now, it is paired with the 7 of Swords behind it. So, I mean, this could be a third-party situation if you are in relationship already. It could be just like a warning for that. The 7 of Swords is usually like, it's kind of lower level, like manipulation, trickery. I always see the 7 of Swords as being the card of us fooling ourselves. It's like self-sabotage because, again, like I was saying with the 2 of Swords and ego and the stories that we attach to experiences, this is when those gremlins get really loud and start telling us all of the reasons why not. Like that's, and even just this depiction here of being like the white picket fence with the swords being in the ground, it's like, if you have a very kind of firm picture or whatever about what a relationship or partnership would be, but there's like no wiggle room in that, right? It's kind of like you're like blocking blessings is how that feels. But then we have the High Priestess behind. So, if there is some sort of secret being discovered here, because a High Priestess can be about secrets also. They're, connected to the moon. There's kind of like a mystery aspect to it, which is also kind of very 5th line. But I see the High Priestess as us being, connected to our star player. If you believe in a higher power, it could be that, God, source, divine, whatever. If you don't necessarily believe in a higher power, then it would just be the direct connection to intuition, because we all have it. It's also interesting that we have 1, 2, 3 out here. We have the Magician, then it goes to the High Priestess, then the Empress. Very third eye here too, which is, about like future vision. And then the Judgment card. Holy crap. Then the Star, then the Hanged Man. Like, there's so much major arcana out here. Judgment is all about transformation. I know we were talking about transformation somewhere in here too, but this is like outgrowing something. We have a cicada here. They're old, like shell. This just like reminds me of my childhood most anytime that I see it. But it is about transformation. There's a judgment that happens, right? It's a decision. And those decisions tend to have transformative properties. The Star card is trusting the process, faith, hope. The Hanged Man is seeing things from a different perspective. Also, this is a cocoon, also has that transformation, like, kind of turning to goo in order to metamorphose into something else. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.